Some major updates just came in regarding the Jack and Lilly Sullivan case. A pink blanket may be the breakthrough investigators have been waiting for. In a case that has frustrated search teams, baffled law enforcement, and broken the hearts of a community, the discovery of a child's blanket, believed to belong to 6-year-old Lilly Sullivan, could finally crack open what happened on that quiet May morning. The blanket was found near the family's rural home in Pictou County, Nova Scotia. It's a small, familiar item, soft, pink, and unmistakably Lily's, according to the family. Now it's in the hands of forensic experts. No official results have been shared, but authorities have confirmed the item is being tested as potential evidence. It's the first tangible clue with direct ties to the children since they vanished nearly 3 months ago, and it comes as RCMP investigators intensify their efforts, revealing they are now combing through over 5,000 hours of video footage gathered from homes, businesses, vehicles, and trail cameras across the region. Every frame is being reviewed frame by frame in hopes of catching a glimpse, any sign, of Jack, age 4, and Lilly, age 6. But so far, nothing. No sightings, no confirmed movements, no leads that have held up. The reward for information remains in place, $150,000 for anything that leads to answers. Police say over 600 tips have come in, dozens of people have been interviewed, some, including family members, have taken polygraph tests. Still, no person of interest has been publicly named. No one has been cleared, either. All we know is this. On May 2nd, 2025, Jack and Lilly were outside. The family says they were playing on the property. Minutes later, they were gone. Just like that. No screams, no camera caught them walking off. No one saw a vehicle, no signs of a struggle, just silence. And now, a pink blanket, small, quiet, and haunting, might be the key that turns this mystery inside out. In this video, we're going to walk you through everything, from the moment they disappeared to the rising questions about the investigation, the family, and what we really know so far. Because someone, somewhere knows something. May 2nd, 2025. It's a Friday morning in rural Nova Scotia. The sun is up, the wind is calm, and the stretch of Gairloch Road is as quiet as ever, surrounded by forest, gravel driveways, and wide open space. Inside the Sullivan home, the usual morning routine is playing out. Breakfast, shoes by the door. The family is getting ready for the day. Outside, Lily, age 6, is already bouncing with energy. She's curious, adventurous, the kind of child who doesn't like to be cooped up for long. Her little brother Jack, just 4, follows close behind. Wherever Lily goes, Jack isn't far behind. They ask to go outside and play. Nothing unusual. It's something they've done 100 times before. The yard isn't fenced, but it's wide and open. There's a patch of woods nearby just past the grass. It's a familiar area. Safe, or at least it always felt that way. The children are seen near the side of the house around 10 a.m. That's the last confirmed moment anyone lays eyes on them. Time passes. Not much at first. Maybe 30 minutes, maybe less. But soon something feels off. The family starts calling for them. No answer. They check the backyard. Then the tree line, the gravel path. The woods aren't deep here, but they're thick. And suddenly, they're quiet. Too quiet. The family begins to panic. They call neighbors. They check the property, the ditches, the shed. Nothing. By early afternoon, the call is made to authorities. The first officers arrive quickly, then more. By evening, a full-scale ground search is underway. Helicopters scan from above. Search dogs comb the woods. Volunteers begin to arrive from across the county. By nightfall, over 100 people are actively looking for Jack and Lilly. But there's no trail, no footprints, no clothing, no toys, no sign that 2 children were ever even there. It's like they vanished into the trees. RCMP expand the search radius. Fish. They knock on doors. They ask for any dashcam footage, any outdoor cameras, any motion-activated recordings. They find nothing. No tire tracks, no strange vehicles, no screams, no witnesses. It's as if the wind picked them up and carried them off, silently. By the next morning, May 3rd, the search doubles in size. Locals, forestry workers, off-duty responders, all combing through thick brush and cold creeks, hoping to find a sock, a footprint, anything. But there's nothing. Authorities try to stay hopeful. Maybe they wandered and found shelter. Maybe they're hiding. Maybe they're scared. But the hours keep ticking, and the weather turns colder. Then, a week later, the search is scaled back. The teams are exhausted. The dogs have stopped picking up scents. The forest has been searched, researched, and mapped. And still, no Jack, no Lily. The case enters a new phase, a quiet one, the kind that trades search dogs for satellite images, that replaces volunteers with polygraph tests, that starts asking questions no one ever wanted to ask. It would be weeks before the public learned about the pink blanket, found tucked near the edge of the property, the only trace of Lily, since she was seen that morning. And now, as that blanket sits in a forensic lab, the question remains, how do two small children vanish in daylight, without a single trace? The first few hours are critical. That's what every missing persons unit will tell you. Time is either your greatest ally or your most brutal enemy. In the case of Jack and Lilly Sullivan, those first hours vanished almost as quickly as the children themselves. After the family reported them missing around noon on May 2, 2025, local RCMP were on site within the hour. Officers secured the scene. They began searching on foot. The nearby woods, not particularly deep but dense and uneven, were combed in grid patterns. Volunteers from the community poured in. Forestry workers, neighbors, local firefighters, people brought drones, ATVs, thermal scopes. Others simply walked, calling their names. By 6 p.m., search dogs were on the ground. Helicopters circled overhead. The Sullivan property was taped off, mapped, and thoroughly inspected. But despite all this, nothing. No broken branches, no pieces of clothing, no footprints, fresh or otherwise, not even a toy left behind. It was as though Jack and Lily had walked into the forest and been absorbed by it. The terrain around Gairloch Road is rural, but not treacherous. You can see across some parts for miles, open stretches of field and thin, scattered pine. Other parts dip into thick brush and low creeks. Authorities expanded the radius again and again. They checked wells, old barns, deer blinds, and abandoned trailers. Nothing. By the next morning, May 3rd, the RCMP declared it a Level 3 missing persons response, the highest tier. That meant full deployment, mounted units, infrared-equipped drones, heat-seeking aircraft. Dive teams swept nearby ponds. Tracking dogs were flown in from neighboring provinces. At the peak of the operation, over 120 officers and volunteers were involved, working in rotating shifts, 24 hours a day. Still, no sign. Some began to whisper what others didn't want to say aloud. This isn't no Ermel. Kids wander off, kids fall into creeks, but two children, at once, without a sound, without a trace? By day 4, the tone started to change. One RCMP official, speaking at a press briefing, said it plainly. We have no physical evidence to indicate where Jack and Lily went. Another added, we're not ruling anything out. And that's when the search became something else entirely. Investigators returned to the Sullivan home. They re-interviewed the parents, searched the vehicles, checked digital records. Family members were asked to provide statements, and some reportedly underwent polygraph tests. No one was arrested, no one was cleared. The community, once fully unified, began to fracture. Some residents kept searching on their own. Others grew skeptical. Rumors spread online, claims of odd behavior, deleted social media posts, gaps in timelines, none of it confirmed, all of it adding to the unease. Behind the scenes, RCMP began pulling surveillance footage, not just from Gairloch Road, but from every feeder road, gas station, and convenience store within a 50-mile radius. Trail cameras, farm security systems, even dash cams from delivery trucks were requested. Over 5,000 hours of footage would eventually be reviewed. And yet, not a single confirmed image of Jack or Lily after 10 a.m. on May 2nd. Even the dogs, specially trained to track human scent, kept losing the trail near the edge of the property. Some officers believed the scent stopped at the road, but again no tire marks, no suspicious vehicles, no sounds reported. By the end of the first week, the official ground search was scaled back, resources were reallocated, the case transitioned from a rescue operation to a full criminal investigation, even though, to this day, no foul play has been confirmed. Still, the most haunting part remains: the silence. Not just the lack of evidence, but the lack of story. No break in the routine, no signs of a stranger, no indication that the children ran away, or were taken, or even suffered an accident. There is only the timeline, a window of minutes, a single location, 2 children, gone. And in that silence, one object emerged, quietly, almost forgotten. Weeks later, tucked near the woods on the eastern edge of the property, a small pink blanket was recovered. According to the family, it belonged to Lily. It was slightly damp, partially covered by moss. Authorities have never explained how it ended up there, or how they missed it during earlier sweeps. Today, that blanket sits in a forensic lab, waiting to speak. But until it does, the silence remains. And so does the question, did someone take Jack and Lily, or did something else happen entirely? From the very beginning, the Sullivan family made a point of cooperating with investigators. They issued public statements, they opened their home to police, they stood in front of cameras and begged for their children to come home. But as the days turned into weeks and no trace of Jack or Lily surfaced, attention slowly shifted inward, toward the very people who had been closest to the children that morning. On May 2nd, the day Jack and Lily vanished, multiple family members were present at the home. What exactly each person was doing, and when, has been the subject of both police scrutiny and public speculation. The official account remains relatively straightforward. The children were playing outside. Someone noticed they were gone. A search began. But when a disappearance happens in broad daylight, without witnesses, without noise, without a single item left behind, the natural question becomes, who was watching? Law enforcement has been tight-lipped about the details. However, sources close to the investigation have confirmed that several adults, including at least one parent and extended relatives, were interviewed extensively. Some were asked to recount the timeline multiple times. Some reportedly took polygraph tests, and while no one has been formally named as a suspect, no one has been publicly cleared either. This approach isn't unusual in cases like this. Statistically, when young children go missing, someone within the home or inner circle is often the first area of focus. It's a grim but necessary starting point. Still, that scrutiny has consequences. In small, tight-knit communities like Pictou County, where everyone knows each other, whispers spread fast. Online forums lit up with theories. Some accused the family of negligence. Others defended them fiercely, pointing to the heartbreak on their faces during televised appeals. The Sullivans appeared at multiple press briefings in the first week. Their voices shook. They looked exhausted. At one point, a family spokesperson read a statement through tears. "We are living in a nightmare. Please bring our babies home." Investigators stressed publicly that the family had been cooperative. But behind the scenes, questions lingered. Who saw the children last? Were there security cameras? Were any family phones tracked? Was there a delay in calling 911? As the days turned into weeks and weeks into months with no trace of Jack or Lily Sullivan, not a sock, not a toy, not even a reliable sighting, something else began to take shape around the case. a growing storm of theories, speculation, and doubt. When two young children vanish into thin air in broad daylight, people don't just accept it. They start asking questions, hard ones, and when those questions go unanswered for too long, theories rush in to fill the silence. At first, the most hopeful explanation was that the children had simply wandered off. Maybe into the woods, maybe down the gravel road, maybe chasing an animal or just exploring. After all, it wasn't unusual for Lily and Jack to play outside. But as the scale of the search effort grew, as helicopters scanned overhead, search dogs combed the terrain, and ground teams mapped out every inch of the area, that theory started to collapse. Two children, especially as young as 4 and 6, don't just vanish without leaving a trail. No footprints, no discarded clothing, no food wrappers, juice boxes, or toys. Nothing. Some suggested they may have found an old well, a hidden hole in the forest floor, but every known structure was searched. Others brought up the local wildlife, black bears, coyotes, but there were no signs of an animal encounter. No blood, no torn clothing, no disturbed brush. And if an animal had attacked, there would have been noise, a scream, a sign of struggle. There was none. That's when public focus shifted from the environment to the people. Whispers about the family began almost immediately. Online forums, Facebook groups, and Reddit threads picked apart interviews, photos, and timelines. Why weren't the parents speaking more publicly? Why had the mother been seen leaving town briefly? Why did the father's statement seem so controlled? Every pause, every blink became a potential clue. Then came the polygraphs. RCMP confirmed that several individuals, including family members, had voluntarily undergone lie detector tests. The results, however, were never shared. Standard protocol, but enough to ignite speculation. Some believed the police were holding back. Others thought the silence meant they were close to a suspect. Reporters tried to probe deeper. Some neighbors hinted at past tensions within the family. A few recalled that Child Protective Services had once visited the home, though no official records have been made public, and nothing indicated any open cases at the time of the disappearance. Another theory emerged. Someone the family knew, a trusted visitor, a neighbor, a passerby familiar with the routine, someone who knew the kids would be outside that morning, someone who could coax them quietly, without struggle. It's a chilling possibility, and one that investigators have not ruled out. Then there were sightings, or rather, claimed sightings. A man at a gas station thought he saw 2 children matching the description in a van. A hiker reported hearing a child's voice near a logging road. Surveillance footage from a grocery store in a nearby town captured a family with 2 young kids who turned out not to be the Sullivans. All of them led nowhere. By early June, the public began turning its frustration outward, toward law enforcement. Was the RCMP doing enough? Were they looking in the right places? Why hadn't there been more updates? Theories turned into criticism. Some even accused the RCMP of being too cautious, of refusing to name suspects even when people clearly wanted closure. But the truth is, there were no suspects, not officially, no arrests, no charges, no one ruled out, but no one brought in either. Meanwhile, the community sat in limbo. Flyers still hung in windows. Yellow ribbons tied to fences had begun to fade in the sun. What began as a hopeful effort had become a kind of quiet, aching dread. Everyone had a theory, and no one had answers. One of the most chilling realizations is this: whoever, or whatever, is behind Jack and Lily's disappearance has left no signature, no demands, no communication, just silence. And with every theory that comes and goes, the trail grows colder. It's been nearly 3 months since Jack and Lilly Sullivan disappeared from their yard in rural Nova Scotia. And despite the noise, hundreds of tips, Weeks of searching, countless online rumors. What remains is a quiet, unsettling list of facts, few but sharp, each one a question in itself. Here's what we know. May 2nd, 2025. Sometime between 9:30 and 10 a.m., 6-year-old Lily and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan were seen playing outside their family's home on Gairloch Road. The property is semi-rural, surrounded by forest, with a few homes nearby but plenty of space in between. It wasn't unusual for the kids to be outside alone. They'd done it many times before. Around 10 a.m., a family member noticed the children were no longer in sight. They called out, checked the yard, walked toward the tree line, no response. Minutes later, neighbors were contacted. A broader search began. By that afternoon, police had been called. The initial search, RCMP responded quickly. Ground teams were deployed, K-9 units swept the area. Aerial support arrived. Within hours, over 100 people were involved. Locals from across Pictou County volunteered. Forestry workers, off-duty first responders, neighbors, all combing through dense brush and open fields. Over the next few days, search teams expanded their radius. Creeks, culverts, wells, sheds, abandoned buildings, everything was checked. Thermal imaging drones were used. Helicopters searched from above. The terrain was difficult, but the hope was simple. Maybe the kids had wandered. Maybe they were hiding. Maybe they were scared. But nothing turned up. Not a sock, not a shoe, not a trail. The blanket. In late May, searchers found something. A pink blanket, described by family as unmistakably Lily's, was discovered near the edge of the family's property, tucked against the woods. It had not been there earlier, according to some reports. That blanket is now undergoing forensic testing. It remains the only physical item directly tied to either child. The investigation. As of July 2025, RCMP say they've reviewed over 5,000 hours of surveillance footage. That includes doorbell cameras, trail cams, business security footage, and vehicle DA cams. They've received more than 600 tips. Dozens of interviews have been conducted. Some individuals, including family members, have undergone polygraph tests. No person of interest has been named. No one has been cleared either. The reward. A reward of $150,000 remains active. It's one of the largest in Nova Scotia history. Authorities say they hope the money will encourage someone, anyone, with knowledge of what happened to come forward. What we don't know. We don't know if Jack and Lily wandered off or were taken. We don't know if the pink blanket was left there the day they vanished, or placed there later. We don't know if there was a vehicle involved. No tire tracks, no surveillance footage shows one. We don't know if this was a stranger or someone familiar. And we still don't know why no one saw or heard anything. No eyewitnesses, no security footage, no signs of struggle, just a void, where things stand. The search has gone quiet, but the case is far from cold. Investigators continue to work behind the scenes. Digital analysis, interviews, forensic processing, it's still moving. But the longer it goes, the harder the answers become. 2 children, gone in daylight, no trace, no sound, just a blanket, and silence. If you're watching from Nova Scotia or anywhere near Pictou County, your comment could bring new eyes to this case. If something doesn't sit right, say it. Let us know in the comments where you're watching from and what case we should cover next. And if you believe stories like these deserve to be told, subscribe, hit the bell, and help us keep the pressure on. Because one day, someone will talk, and when they do, we'll be listening.